Okay, today we are diving into what might just be the most controversial, maybe even the most dangerous book of our time. It's a roadmap to the darker side of human nature, and we're starting right at the beginning with its very first, and you could argue its most critical law. I mean, people have called this thing evil, amoral, even the sociopath's Bible. And look, those aren't my words. These are the kinds of labels this book gets because of the cold, hard truths it lays bare about how power really works. And get this, it is one of the most requested books in the entire American prison system. But at the same time, it's banned in a lot of those same prisons. So why? Well, it seems the people in charge are afraid that if inmates really understood these lessons, they'd become way too powerful to control. So what is this book? It's The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And today, we are breaking down its very first law, a law that pretty much cuts against everything you and I have ever been taught about getting ahead. So, what is this first commandment of power? Well, it's a lesson that is both incredibly simple and, honestly, profoundly difficult to put into practice. You know how we're always told to work hard, show off your skills, be the smartest person in the room? Well, Robert Greene warns us that this is basically a trap. In the real game of power, showing off too much talent can be the quickest way to end your career. And that brings us to law number 1, never outshine the master. The whole idea is simple. You have to always make the people above you, your boss, your mentor, whoever, feel comfortably superior. Your wins shouldn't feel like a threat to them. They shouldn't make them insecure. To really get just how high the stakes are here, let's look at a true story from history about someone who learned this lesson in the most brutal way imaginable. This is the story of the man who shined just a little too bright. Picture this. We're in France. The year is 1661. Nicolas Fouquet, the super talented finance minister, is expecting a big promotion. So to seal the deal, he throws the party of a lifetime for his boss, King Louis XIV. But in a wild turn of events, that very night, his brilliant move completely backfires. By the next morning, his life is, for all intents and purposes, over. And listen, this was not just any party. We are talking about a festival of pure excess. Imagine giant fountains, fireworks that light up the entire sky, a 7-course banquet with all these exotic foods, and even a brand new play by the famous Molière written just for the king. Fouquet thought he was showing just how competent and tasteful he was. But here's what the king was actually thinking. He wasn't impressed, he was threatened. He looked at Fouquet's wealth and his charm and just felt completely overshadowed. Fouquet thought he was showing loyalty, but what he was actually doing was casting a giant shadow over the king's own brilliance. And the price for that mistake? 20 years. That is how long Nicolas Fouquet spent in solitary confinement. His crime wasn't stealing money or treason. His real crime was making his master feel insecure. So here's the key takeaway. Everybody has insecurities, and that is especially true for people in power. When you come across as too perfect or too talented, you accidentally trigger those insecurities. You stop being an asset, and suddenly you become a threat. But does this mean you should just be lazy or hide your talents? No, absolutely not. It's about being strategic. So let's look at a genius who understood this law perfectly and played the game to win. Let's talk about Galileo Galilei. It's the 1600s and he's this brilliant astronomer, but he's also flat broke. He needs a job, and even more than that, he needs the protection of a powerful patron. So Galileo makes this groundbreaking discovery, the 4 moons of Jupiter. Now, he could have named them after himself, secured his own legacy forever. But instead, he did something much, much smarter. He named them the Medici stars, a direct tribute to his target patron, the powerful Medici family. And he didn't just give them the discovery, he framed it with this absolute masterstroke of flattery. He basically told the Duke, hey, you are the center of the universe, and this amazing cosmic discovery, it's just a reflection of your greatness. I mean, the contrast here is just stunning. Fouquet showed off his own brilliance and ended up rotting in a dungeon. Galileo made his master shine, and what happened to him? He was immediately made the official court philosopher with a huge salary. 2 brilliant guys, 2 totally opposite approaches, and 2 vastly different fates. So, how does any of this apply to us today? I mean, you might not have a king, but you definitely have a boss, a manager, or a client. So let's translate this old school history lesson into a modern strategy for how you can win at work. Okay, here are 3 super simple rules for the modern office. First, ask for advice. It subtly reinforces their superiority and shows you value their wisdom. Second, never, ever correct them in public. It's a direct shot at their authority. If you have to, do it privately. And third, attribute your best ideas to them. Frame your stroke of genius as if it were just an extension of their own. Like, hey, building on your point from last week. See, when you do this, you're not actually hiding your talent. You're just reframing it. Your brilliance is no longer a threat to your boss. Instead, it becomes their asset. Your success makes them look good. And believe me, they will promote and protect you for it. This all comes down to a really powerful metaphor for understanding your place in the, let's call it, the solar system of power. In any power structure, just think of it this way. Your boss is the sun. They are the center of gravity. They're the source of all the light and the warmth, all the energy and attention. It revolves around them. So you are not a competing sun. Your job is to be the mirror. Your role is to take their light, their vision, their authority, and reflect it, making it seem even brighter. And when you do that, you become indispensable. So I'll leave you with a question to really think about. Whether it's at your job, in your family, or just in your social life, who is the master in your world? And are you shining too brightly, or are you reflecting their lights? The answer to that question could change everything.